I was flipping through the channels the other day, but there was nothing good on, I had nothing to play. So I went to my computer and realized that there was so much content before my eyes. But there's nothing but Netflix in my heart and on my screen. There's always something that I still haven't seen. But maybe one day we can try to watch the rest. So Rob and Chappell, give it your best.
Yes, Nothing But Netflix is back to talk about the Netflix blockbuster film, The Adam Project. Big episode here today. Very excited to talk about it here first with my co-host of Nothing But Netflix, who is not interested in time traveling. Here is the great Chappell. Chappell, how are you? Right? You don't want time travel.
It's not my thing. Not my thing. Yeah. I'm future oriented. You know, I really want to know what's coming up next. I don't need to go relive the past. But Rob, you know, people have been speaking to me about time recently because they say it's been a long time since we dropped an episode of Nothing But Netflix. It's been forever.
Has it been that long? We dropped the Medea episode a little bit early. We dropped it a couple days early because we were so excited about it and we didn't want it to go up against the draft on Sunday night. So it's been, 9 days?
Yeah, it's too long. It's too long. And the Medea podcast was a great success. Like people have been just ranting and raving about how ridiculous it was. And so I was very excited to talk about it. And I'm happy that people, you know, got some hype going for this episode as well.
Good. And I think that might be the most critically acclaimed episode of Nothing But Netflix that we've done.
Probably the most critically acclaimed thing that we watched as well, you know, a Medea Homecoming.
Yes.
You know.
Okay.
Pencil it in for the Emmys and all the other things, right? It's coming.
Chappelle, second week in a row, we're covering a big Netflix movie because we're talking about The Adam Project, a sci-fi action flick about starring Ryan Reynolds. He's going to go back in time to visit 12-year-old Ryan Reynolds. Sci-fi movie. Thought it would be a good spot to bring in a man or a robot, some would say. Of course, loves sci-fi, fantasy, Big Brother. Of course, here's Taran Armstrong. Taran, how are you?
I'm great. I'm excited. Yes, sci-fi. I love sci-fi. I like time travel. I like Ryan Reynolds. I feel like there's a lot to like here. I also love the theme song. Such a banger.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Will, from America. Yeah.
Absolutely. This is great. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. Okay. Taran, had you heard of the Adam Project before we asked you to get involved with us this week?
No.
Okay. Yeah, they had a big Super Bowl commercial. That's where I sort of I was like, oh, what movie is this? It was coming to Netflix. And I said, okay, let's mark that down. Okay.
I don't know how I missed that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you
weren't paying close attention to the Super Bowl that night, Taran? Were you busy?
I might have been watching some celebrities. I'm not sure.
Yeah. All-star cast here on the Adam Project. Jennifer Garner, Zoe Saldana, Mark Ruffalo, Catherine Keener, if you will. Yeah. So big cast here for the Adam Project, which marks, Chappell, the second big blockbuster Ryan Reynolds film on Netflix we've covered.
Is this a bigger cast than Red Notice? Because Red Notice had notably like 3 main huge megastars.
Yeah.
But this cast,
yeah.
But this cast has Ryan Reynolds again, Zoe Saldana, who's not a megastar. You know, like she is a megastar, right? Mark Ruffalo, who's also a megastar. Then you get to add in Jennifer Garner and Catherine Keener. Is this the star quality they were looking for in Red Notice, or was Red Notice still bigger with The Rock and Gal Gadot?
Yeah, I think that the based on just the big 3, I think it's probably like the weight of the top 3 is probably bigger than the Fab 5.
Oh wow! So The Rock greater than Mark Ruffalo. That's basically what you're saying.
I think so.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay. Don't tell the Hulk that, but all right, that's fine.
In terms of star power, for sure.
I guess.
The Rock versus the Hulk in a fight. Who do we think wins?
Well, that'd be an interesting fight. Yeah.
No, it's The Rock. Let's be very clear. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, Rob, we also haven't talked about the breakout star of this film as well. I guess he's kind of the star. Is it Braxton Bergerkin?
Braxton Bergerkin. The bully that beats up young Adam?
No, which one is young Adam? Is it
Walker Scobell.
Walker Scobell.
Maybe I just wanted to say Braxton Berserker.
As Walter Scobell is young Adam. Braxton Berjerkin is the bully that beats him up at one point.
One of the bullies. Yeah, I think there's two of them. But yeah, Braxton Berjerkin. Maybe
Chuck.
Yeah, Chuck. Shut up, Chuck. Yeah, I think I just wanted to say Braxton Berjerkin. Once you see it on the IMDb, you gotta say it.
Yeah. How about that? So yeah. Without we'll go tell you when we're doing full spoilers in case you want to bounce it out, but we will be spoiling the whole movie shortly. That there is a 12-year-old kid, Walter Scobell, Chappell's favorite. He gets visited by his adult self in the future, Ryan Reynolds. I did think that this was very fun to, I think we've tried to figure out different ways of okay, we know Ryan Reynolds is Ryan Reynolds in every movie, but what if we paired him up with a kid who's also a Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah. I mean, this kid is a Ryan Reynolds super fan. I saw a video on Twitter of this kid
he
basically.
Is?
Oh yeah, he knows every word of Deadpool 2. And there's actually a video on Twitter of him reciting the words. So it's like Ryan Reynolds is in the front seat and then Walker is in the back seat and he's just going scene by scene hitting every word of Deadpool 2. Now, you remember Deadpool 2 is a very vulgar movie, not unlike this one, but probably a little bit more vulgar than this one, but he's not missing a word. And Ryan Reynolds looks very shocked to see this, but also kind of impressed that this kid is basically embodied him. So I think he was the perfect choice for this role.
I had no idea.
Is this how he got the role, or did he research Ryan Reynolds once he got the role?
No, there were hundreds of applicants or whatever to be Adam. And I think he was just the guy. Since once he had the Deadpool thing, once he used that in his audition, I think it was one of those things oh, and he also has that too. Yeah, we got to pick him. But it was something that they didn't know that was his secret talent. He just happened to just pull it out, when he needed it to get the role. So yeah, that's right. That's Walker.
Yeah.
Do you think that Ryan Reynolds as a child was like this?
Oh, was Ryan Reynolds always Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah. Do you think Ryan Reynolds as a child basically was Walker Scobell?
I don't know. I mean, if he was, that's impressive because Ryan Reynolds to maintain that level of assholeness for your entire life, it has to be pretty tough. And Walker did a really good job as a 12-year-old in this film, embodying that. But I just couldn't imagine actually growing up with this person.
Yeah, there's a lot in the movie about what this kid has to go through to become Ryan Reynolds, and I don't know if his actual path to becoming Ryan Reynolds was like this kid's path.
Well, I think the key to becoming Ryan Reynolds is this kid has to become Van Wilder at some point.
Well, first he has to be on Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place.
Oh,
and then what is it? Two guys. What did they get rid of? The girl, a guy, or the pizza place?
Let's be very careful about all of these words.
They got rid of the pizza place. The two guys, a girl, and a pizza place became Two Guys and a Girl.
Exactly. And so I guess he'd have to do all of that. He'd be Youngberg, if you will, for that. And then I guess he has to do Just Friends at some point. So Van Wilder is a good stop to make. I mean, I think that's the real peek into who Ryan
National Lampoon's Van Wilder, I believe.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. So I mean, he goes by Harold and Kumar, go to White Castle. He's there, but then he's the Green Lantern, and then everybody doesn't like the Green Lantern, and that's sort of his origin story. I feel
forgot he was the Green Lantern.
Yeah. It was there was the summer of 2011 that they hyped up the Green Lantern is going to be the next big superhero movie, and it bombed. And then I think that's really the new Ryan Reynolds origin story.
I have a horrible story about when I went to go see the Green Lantern, Rob.
Yes, what happened?
Well, okay, so back in my younger years, I would go to the movies.
Let's go back in time to 2011.
Jeez, let's go back in time to 2011. So I was in college. I was very poor, but I also like my superhero movies, and so I went to the movies. But beforehand, I went and got some Taco Bell. And I got a big old like 6 or 7 tacos, from Taco Bell, thinking I'll sneak them into the movies, have something to eat. It's still gonna be cheaper than a drink at the movies, so it felt like a win. But I do not like sour cream, Rob. Like I don't. And I specifically tell people at every drive-through that I go through, like no sour cream. They put sour cream on the taco, but I didn't know this. So I was sneaking, like gingerly unwrapping the paper and like sneaking to eat this crunchy taco. Yeah, not the best decision ever. But I bite into the crunchy taco, I taste the sour cream, and then I vomit in the middle of the movie.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was bad. And luckily nobody saw the Green Lantern, so it was just me. So me and like two friends, but it was bad. And then I'm also dramatic. So it wasn't just that I vomited. It was like I like stumbled into the aisle, like, oh my God, sour cream. What is it? Like, they're trying to kill me. They're trying to kill me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, or something like that, right? Or whatever the Green Lantern's weakness is. Something. Yeah, yellow.
I think it's like a different, different color. Taran, is sour cream is kind of plain yogurt adjacent, right?
I'm not a huge sour cream fan myself.
Yes,
I would also be disappointed if I would not vomit, but I'd be like, sour cream.
Yeah.
It's I feel like I told a similar story about biting into a donut, and I feel like Chappell was very unsympathetic to me in that story.
Listen,
what was in your donut, Taran?
Chocolate. What's wrong with that? It wasn't a chocolate in the donut. It was a chocolate donut.
Yeah.
Covered in powder.
Hidden by the powder.
You could see through the powder.
No, you couldn't.
Yeah, and you were gonna vomit?
No.
I don't know about vomiting, but I was traumatized for sure.
Yeah, right. And to be fair, I probably didn't vomit either, but I made a lot of sounds like I was. It was like Tracy the Drug just interrupted the movie. I was that bored. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, tell me, how traumatized were either of you by this movie? Because I'm a little bit on pins and needles. That I'm dying to know what you both thought about the film.
Well, we brought in the expert. We brought in Taran, and so I think Taran's opinion is what I care about the most here, because I thought the movie was fine. But Taran, give us the expert opinion. What you think?
Yeah, well, I told Chappell a little while ago, like, hey, sci-fi fantasy, I'm in. It's my forte. He was like, "Whoa, Ryan Reynolds sci-fi movie." I was like, "All right, let's go." I liked Free Guy. Free Guy was fine. And I watched this movie, and I was like, "What is Chappell trying to do to me? Why is he trying to make me look bad?" This is the most aggressively mediocre film I think I've seen in years. It's like it's so bland. It's worse than plain yogurt. It's like the worst thing about this movie is that it's not even bad. So I can't even just trash on it all podcast. Like, what is there to even talk? I was forgetting the movie as I was watching it. It's so forgettable. I couldn't believe that this is the movie that I'm coming on this show to talk about. I'm so annoyed.
Well, to be fair, Taran, I would not have invited you to do this film. I was going to lean into the fantasy, but somebody was like, we should get Taran. And I was like, no, this seems aggressively mediocre. Maybe this isn't the one for him. And Rob was like, no, I insist. It's fine. I was like, okay, I wouldn't do it. He's like, no, it's fine. Taran will love it. So it's not me, Taran. It's not me.
Yeah, I definitely hear that. I think I like the movie the most out of the three of us. That I feel like that there were parts that I felt like, I couldn't care less about any of the action that was going on in the movie. I did feel like that this was a Back to the Future ripoff in terms of and I think they even mentioned Back to the Future at points in the movie. And I don't know what the rules are. Like, if you're ripping something off, but you mention that the thing that you're ripping off, does that still make it that you're ripping it off? It's muddy, but there was enough here that I liked that I felt like it was not the worst thing I've watched on Netflix.
Yeah, no, that's the problem.
Yeah. No, and I think I'm downplaying it because I don't want you both to make fun of me. But yeah, I feel like I thought it was like a 6 or 7 out of 10. I didn't think it was that bad. I just felt like there wasn't there was the movie could have been an hour.
Rob, I like the movie. I did.
Yeah.
Taran is just upset because it didn't have it doesn't evoke a strong feeling otherwise, right? It's like you come on a podcast and you want to love something or you want to really hate it so you can talk about it. Taran's just kind of like, meh. There's nothing there to mind.
It was perfectly watchable. It was Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds for an hour 45. And then it was over. And I was like, all right.
Yeah.
What am I having for dinner?
What are you having?
I don't know. I don't remember what I had for dinner that night. It was a very forgettable night.
I forgot everything about it. Yeah, the movie could be shorter. It could, because there's, like you said, there's not a lot there. But I thought that it was funny. I thought there was the banter between Ryan Reynolds and young Ryan Reynolds is pretty spot on. As like they're both playing Ryan Reynolds, you would think that they have a good handle on that. Jennifer Garner is just there. She really doesn't bring much to the
just
table.
there.
Yeah, she's more like a plot device. And then Mark Ruffalo is kind of boring, but I mean, I think that was his role. You know, like he was supposed to be like the stickler for the rules dad. You know, and so. They brought all those people together. They did what they were supposed to do. But yeah, I think Taran probably has a point there. There's not much to dive into, but we can still talk about it.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to release the spoiler ban and we can talk about everything that happens in the movie. If you heard our reviews, if you feel like checking it out and you're playing with fire, really.
If you need to kill almost 2 hours of your life. Easy. It'll distract you. It's fine.
Yeah. And honestly, we could tell you all the spoilers. I don't think it's going to impact your viewing of the movie one way or the other.
I mean, is there anything to spoil? Like, you know, like they kind of tell you the entire plot at the beginning. Like, you know, once Ryan Reynolds shows up and meets young Ryan Reynolds, he's like, "Hey, Adam, this is exactly what's happening, and so this is all the suspense." And they're like, "Oh, okay, cool." And so they spend the entire movie trying to undo the woman who has gone back and changed time. And they have to stop time travel from ever happening, basically. Like they have to eliminate the time machine that they've accidentally created. And so that's it. That's the movie.
Yeah. I feel like that all of the like elements about like the future, all the technology, I think that they really overshot what's going to happen by 2050.
Well, if they've got time travel, maybe they're
you think they went forward? They went forward, got all that stuff,
bringing the technology back,
and brought it home. Yeah. Although it seems like, I mean, Ryan Reynolds describes life in 2050 as, did you ever see The Terminator? That's 2050 on a good day. So it seems like that. I mean, maybe it's good for Catherine Keener, but for everybody else, it sounds really bad.
She's the only one. Like she's literally the only person who benefited from this this time travel thing, because if it's that bad, if it's like Terminator, then no one should be happy. But she's like, no, I went back and I made this happen, and I'll kill anybody who tries to stop it from happening. So I don't know what situation she has. Like, is she like the empress of the world or something, or the universe at that point? But there has to be something that's exempting her from the horrors of the Terminator as future.
She is the Terminator.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess so. I mean, I didn't even understand, you know, we spend most of the movie in 2022 and then probably spend the third act in 2018. I didn't even understand sort of like the relationship between Mark Ruffalo and the young Catherine Keener in terms of like she's funding his research, but I don't know where she got the money from, because it seems like the first time she's visited by the future Catherine Keener is in 2018. So it wasn't like that she had been like giving her stock tips for 10 years that she amassed this fortune.
Yeah, I think she was either like an assistant or a friend or the original funder of the thing based on other things. And then, you know, then decided eventually like, I'm going to go back in time and do this. But yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of like a hand wavy kind of thing.
Yeah, because her name was Sori, and it said Sori all over all the buildings in 2018. And then they made it like, oh, invest in these companies. This is going to be how you'll amass your fortune. Well, it seems like she's doing okay. All right.
Yeah. I mean, there's one thing to have a fortune, but then there's also being the empress conqueror of the world. You know, like those are two different things. And so she's like, yeah, I had a lot of money, but what if I could go back in time and have all the money? Like, what if I could, like, sure, I invented time travel, but also let me invent the internet. You know, let me invent literally everything. You ever heard of a MacBook? It's called the Sorian book now. You know, like if you could go back and change things to make your life better, like, okay, I could see that happening. But she legit like did it in the most greedy way possible, to where she wanted to be the queen of the universe. And I think it worked.
Okay. Let's talk about the thing that where I thought the movie was going at the end, where Mark Ruffalo in 2022, that he has died between 2018 and 2022. And, you know, 12-year-old Ryan Reynolds, young Adam, very upset, Jennifer Garner, all dealing with this. So you are telling me that we had the whole thing going on with Catherine Keener, future Catherine Keener coming, and and investing all this money to take over this whole time portal, and Mark Ruffalo was dying, was going to die in an accident, but it didn't turn out that it was because of foul play. Like I mean, like, what are the chances that Mark Ruffalo is like the one person standing in the way of the evil Empress, like, taking over? And I'm like, oh, okay, well, she made it look like an accident, but she really took him out. But no, it seems like earnestly,
life happened.
Life happened.
Well, it's also like what if he died naturally or accidentally? Then why did she need to go back in the first place to change things? Like, what did she change to make herself?
The investors,
the investments. Like she needed extra money.
Yes,
she was already in control of the time travel, wasn't she? Like,
she wants money.
It was just the investments. That's it.
Yeah.
We just needed to prevent her from investing.
Yeah, because in the original timeline, Mark Ruffalo still dies in 2019, 2020, whatever. We don't know what happened. And then Catherine Keener is just like some cog in the time travel facility, but has access enough to the equipment that she's able to open the time portal and go back to 2018 and give the stock advice.
I guess this is like the Tarantino version of The Big Short, I guess. It's like this is the fantasy version of like, we're going to stop these bad investors. They're time traveling. Like, we're fixing history.
Yeah, you think that's what's going on?
Maybe. I don't know.
Oh my God.
If it's the Tarantino version of anything, you got to drop the N-bomb like 62 times for it to be a legitimate film. But yeah, this is definitely her, like, time travel is a thing. I definitely like spearheaded, the funding of all of this, and it's great, but I'm just a cog in the machine. I could be the world leader. I could lead the world, Rob. So yeah, I'm going back, go invest in these things. Like, who is Elon Musk? We don't need to know anymore because I am Elon Musk now. Like, I have it all. I want all the things. And so she got all the things. It's very simple. I don't understand why y'all don't understand, Hey,
Mark Ruffalo insists at the end of the film, like, I know that I'm going to die, and you could tell me the information that will prevent my death. You cannot tell me, because then I shouldn't know that. But why? We've already significantly altered the timeline. I feel like it makes more sense in Back to the Future that Doc doesn't necessarily want to know about anything that can alter the future. But I mean, we have fundamentally altered the future by what's going on. He doesn't. It seems kind of selfish from Mark Ruffalo to not want to, help his son grow up.
This is some of, I think, the worst writing in the movie, where it's very clearly they're trying to ham-fist in multiple different, like, bittersweet time travel endings.
Those are the best endings. Yeah.
One of which is, no, the echoes will make it happen anyway. And the other one is, no, we can't change anything ever. That would be terrible. So we must accept the tragedy. And so, like, it's like they're trying to get the best of both worlds here. And like, there's this weird hand wavy explanation at the beginning of the movie where he's like, oh no, it'll fix itself once, it's or our memories will be wiped. And so you won't remember any of the.
They'll reconcile, Taran. Dang, you don't know science
well,
no more?
I mean, and which the thing too is that, like, the second he says that, it's like, in my
Taran
mind,
throws a shoe at the screen.
But in my mind, like, I'm used to time travel movies or stories where, like, they actually try to, be somewhat logical in the paradoxical nature of it. So in my mind, I'm just like, oh, so every character in this movie is going to die by the end of the movie. At least their consciousness, right? Like, every character in this movie, that version of them is gone, erased. They killed themselves. Different versions of them show up at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that's what happened. At the very end of the movie, we see Ryan Reynolds meeting his late wife, Laura, for the first time, in the same way he met her the first time, because the echoes, Taran. But it's not the same version. They're not at, like,
all the lessons
space
they
camp.
learned, all the character development, gone.
Yeah, they're not at space camp anymore. They're not. You're not a fighter.
They're just at some class.
A pilot. They're just at college, like a random class. Yeah.
Chappell, did they de-age them at all? Because it didn't seem that way to me. It was like, boy, You don't seem like you're. This isn't Van Wilder.
Oh, Ryan Reynolds looks pretty young, just in general. So I think he could
He
play
looks
himself
young
throughout the years.
in general, but this is like Forrest Gump. But as Tom Hanks is a high schooler.
Yeah.
I was like, what are these middle-aged people doing at this college? But I mean, I honestly, I very much wish that they had de-aged them, because I think one of my favorite parts of the movie is de-aged Catherine Keener. And if they had also done that horrific monstrosity of a job on Ryan Reynolds and Zoe Saldana, I think I would have had way more fun with the ending of this movie.
Yeah. De-age is like code for airbrushed, because that's all they did. They just airbrushed some features down. Like there was nothing de-aged about her. She looked like a Muppet. Like it was just really like weird image of her. And so I'm happy they didn't do it to everybody else.
I mean, this
so awkward.
This was like in The Irishman when Robert De Niro is like kicking the dude on the street, except also his face is the kick. Like it's so bad. She looks like she's an animated character. Like for most of her scenes as a young version of herself. It's hilarious. It was one of my favorite bits.
Yeah, she looks like young LeBron James in that one commercial that he's like LeBron is talking to LeBron. Like that's how Catherine Keener looks. Taran's not wrong.
Did he do that with a time machine?
I'm sure. I'm 100% sure. He went back in time and was like, "Hey, say no to Russell Westbrook. No matter what you do, say no. Don't answer his calls."
Yeah. Catherine Keener also, Nicole, she caught this, that said she's also the villain in Incredibles 2, being typecast.
She's just a bad guy now? Is that what she does?
Yeah.
Who was the villain? Yeah, who was the villain in Incredibles 2? Do y'all remember?
Screenslaver. Yeah.
Screenslaver.
Yeah.
I don't remember at all.
Yeah.
What happened in Incredibles 2? I just remember the baby like making a mess in the house or something.
Yeah, then that part was
Jack
good.
fought the squirrel or something.
Yeah.
That's the best movie.
Screenslaver is taking over all of the heroes, and then it turns out that Screenslaver was actually the sister of the Bob Odenkirk character who loved the superheroes. She was trying to teach the world a lesson because that when the spoiler alert, Incredibles 2, because bad guys like broke in and killed their dad, who was like a big like funder of superhero activities. The superheroes didn't save their dad.
Wow. I watched this 4 years ago and I don't remember any of that.
Well, it took 12 years for the sequel to come out, so it's kind of like maybe you don't wait.
But that's the thing. I remember the original movie way more.
Yeah, the original was tighter. Yeah.
It mattered more. And then you wait 12 years and you're like, okay, now here's the second one. Everyone's like, well, I kind of care. I really wish I cared more. I'm going to pretend I care a lot, but I really don't care that much. And it didn't hit hard enough for us to still be talking about it. Unless we're talking about this movie right here.
Catherine Keener. Yeah.
Yeah. Her impact.
There you go.
So, Taran, were there any elements you liked from the film?
Oh, another one of my favorite moments from this movie. I thought it was the like high point of the humor of the movie was when Ryan Reynolds farted every time they like poked the wound.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds has been shot somehow. I don't really know how he was shot, because it seems like that the all of the weaponry is like very sophisticated. And we go into like a lot of like Star Wars type fight scenes, but he has been shot to start the movie and then flies back to 2022, mistakenly trying to get to 2018. He has a bullet wound that does make a fart noise every time he coughs.
It's genuinely, it was the funniest part of the movie for me. I'm not even kidding. I just, the notion of a bullet wound making a fart.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So the bullets go straight through you, as we see in the moment where I think at the end, Mark Ruffalo is like, "Get behind me!" And they got the guns pointed at him. He's like, "Dad, if they shoot you, it's gonna go straight through. And it's gonna kill us too." And they're like, "Oh well,
Yeah.
spread out." And so
Yeah.
whatever that bullet was is probably what hit Ryan Reynolds and like made that whistling and then later on fart sound every time he moved. But it was pretty funny. It's just a random thing that they just dropped into the movie for no reason. I'm assuming that it was that one guy, the henchman.
They like burned his face with like acid or something.
Yeah, Christos. I think it was Christos who shot him.
Yeah.
Or it could be one of those like, Mortal Kombat cybernetic ninjas, like Cyrax, the ones that keep popping up and like disappearing everywhere, like the putties. Like those things were pretty cool.
He kept killing people left and right as they were constantly not trying to kill him. Just like, it's pretty bad when you die outside of your own timeline. So it's pretty rough for them.
But what does
Like,
that mean? What does that mean?
Well, a regular death, you like get shot and you fall on the ground and you bleed out and stuff. Like if you hit these people with a bullet and they die, they just like dissolve. At one point, someone hits a tree and dies.
I don't understand why does that happen if you die in the timeline that you're not supposed to be in?
I don't know the science behind it, Rob.
Yeah.
Jeez.
the timeline is correcting itself. That's
by dissolving your body. I mean, because imagine having a funeral for somebody in the wrong timeline. Like that would be pretty messy.
Yeah.
And then their bones would like fertilize the soil, and then something would grow, and like that would be a thing that came from the future. It would be a whole thing.
Yeah.
Chappell, you and I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre recently, and that movie had a lot of action in it. What did you think about all of the fight scenes in this movie?
There were a lot of fight scenes in this movie. We see Ryan Reynolds' character with a lightsaber that he insists is not a lightsaber. And it doesn't really give lightsaber vibes, honestly, in practice, from what I could tell. But he got this magic stick, and he's wielding it, and he's like slicing and dicing. And Zoe Saldana shows up at some point, and she's a badass, and so she's killing people too. Little Ryan Reynolds, baby Adam, he tries to get in on the fights, and he sucks. Like this poor kid got his ass whooped throughout this film so many times.
Yeah.
Even at one point where I thought the film was going to do the corny thing and actually allow him to win a fight, like the chips are down and he grabs a lightsaber and he's like, "It's my time," and he's like wielding it like all kinds of ninja action stuff.
Yeah.
And then right before he swings, Ryan Reynolds like, "Don't do that," and then like he gets punched in the face just out of nowhere. It's like, you're still 12 years old and very scrawny for a 12-year-old as well, and so he gets flattened. So there were some pretty good fight scenes in there, but that was probably the most memorable one for me, because I just knew that this was going to be the moment where he broke character, right? Like this one kid who can never win a fight is about to do something miraculous, and no, he just gets punched in the face by a grown-ass man. Yeah. So
I appreciate that. I'm normally like, even though I watch a lot of action movies, I'm pretty critical on action scenes. Most of the time they bore me because they're boring. And you can't follow them. They're poorly choreographed and poorly shot. I felt like, similar to the rest of the movie, the action scenes of this one were fine. Which quite honestly is above average. Because I think most action scenes in most movies are not fine. And so I actually enjoyed some of them. I thought that they flowed pretty well. I loved the scene where the kid gets beat up. Because
which time?
At the end, because the notion of like the kid being able to fight with the thing was so ridiculous. And I'm glad that they were like, no, of course not. So I appreciated that. I mean, my theory on the whole movie is that the entire thing was made just because Ryan Reynolds wanted to, wield a lightsaber-ish thing.
Yeah.
Right. It's probably fair. And even to Taran's point, like, the movie, the fight scenes are kind of honest, there are moments where, this kid cannot win this fight and he's going to get punched in the face. Or there's even a moment where they're driving through the woods, like basically through off the beaten path. They're just like ducking and dodging trees and stuff like that. There's no reason why this car should be able to maneuver through that. And Zoe Saldana says, "Oh, we have to get off this road." And little Ryan Reynolds says, "What road?"
I said the same thing.
Yeah, this is not a road. So I like that they kind of called that out when it happened.
Well, yeah, that part annoyed me when they steer off the road and they're driving through the forest, going like 60, 70 miles an hour through like a literal forest, like going in between trees. And then Zoe Saldana is like, all right, I'm going to do it in reverse now. And she's going like, 50 miles an hour in reverse, like through like woods.
Yeah. Yeah. Just through the forest. And then you're thinking, this is absurd. And at least at the very end, he says, yes, that also was absurd. I know you're thinking here, but it was. And so like, okay, cool. I felt like, all right, we're in this journey together. I'm not just watching something ridiculous. I'm watching something ridiculous with y'all instead.
I would have liked to have seen at that one point where, the villains come to 2022 and they're chasing Ryan Reynolds and basically they ambush the house. And then Ryan Reynolds and young Adam have to escape. I would have loved to have seen Jennifer Garner when she comes home to her home, which has been destroyed with like numerous like explosions and blasts.
Well, this is genuinely a turning point in the movie because I actually was, I think, kind of on board with it before the ninja attack scene, right? Like where like there was actually some emotional grounding. It starts small with the kid and his mom, and we have a few scenes where like Ryan Reynolds is talking to Jennifer Garner at the bar, and that was like really nice. And it feels like this is actually kind of like a grounded movie to some degree, even though there are fantastical elements. And because of that, when this happens, I am thinking like, oh, what is Jennifer Garner going to think when she gets home and sees this big mess?
She's going to be mad. Mad.
Like how is this going to impact, how she's seeing things? Is she going to find out that he's her son? And like, what kind of emotional? And then it was like, no, she's not in the movie anymore.
Yeah, we never go back to 2022 at no point. Yeah. So it's kind of like once the timeline corrects itself, it doesn't matter because, like you said, Taran, like they basically just dissolve into whatever consciousness that is in the main timeline that wasn't affected by time travel. So yeah, we never get that moment. But I was definitely thinking it too. I was like, I thought the movie would be much more interesting if Jennifer Garner's character is like in the film to some extent after that moment. Like we're talking about. How does young Adam reconcile with his mom, but also older Adam? Like, does he have anything to say to his mom? Are they ever going to interact outside of that scene in the bar? And then for the Back to the Future element, I was like, is this going to be a thing? Y'all not going? Okay. All right.
Is he going to be his own father?
Right. That's what I'm like, what is this?
Not biologically. It'd be too late for that. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. But no, we didn't get any of that. And I just think that would have been a more interesting turn. Like I said, the film was fine, but I think there was moments where they could have punched it up a bit.
Yeah. Can anybody explain why did they need to bring Ryan Reynolds back to 2050? Did he have to stand trial for his crimes?
That's the thing, right? That's what I was so.
Couldn't they just kill him? Why did they need to bring him back?
He's killing them left and right. And then they are constantly getting him, like surrounding him with guns and sticks.
Time to go back to 2050. That's it.
They're like, time to go back. Like, even though you killed Fred and John and Jack, but we're definitely still taking you in alive, even though we are evil minions of an evil dictator who has ruined the world into a Terminator state. We are still going to hold you and put you on trial. Like, what is happening?
He had a thing. Remember, he had a thing. He had like the drive or something at some point, and they're like, "Give me the drive." It was like, "No, like give it to me." No, like
how about shoot him and take it?
Well, if he shoots him and he dissolves, then what?
Maybe. I don't know.
So at some point they did try to kill him. I mean, she was shooting at him at the very opening film. I mean, scene in the film. At some point at the house, she was going to shoot him. But once he got that drive, I think that was his bargaining tool to keep him alive. But everybody else was just dead. Like no one.
If I'm honest, I don't remember a drive.
Yeah,
so there was a drive.
So Mark Ruffalo had like the drive in 2018, and then he also had the thing that was like the keychain to like operate his ship. But Chappell, was this practical at all? That so the keychain to work your ship has it's the jets are coded to your DNA, but your ship won't let you in if you are not at full health, and but it's coded to your DNA. So he needs young Ryan Reynolds to call his ship because they will recognize the young Ryan Reynolds DNA as being a healthy person, but because he's shot, his ship won't operate because he doesn't have he can tell that he's in distress. It can't sense that he's 12 years old, but it can sense that he has been shot and is not at full capacity.
Right? Can this 12-year-old drive the ship safely? Maybe. Can this person with a gunshot wound that keeps farting drive the ship? Maybe not. We're not willing to risk it. I think it's a safety precaution that this Maya lady put into place so that she could make sure that if she ever had to shoot one of her minions, they couldn't get away.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you hate it when you like when you trip and kind of scrape your knee and then your car doesn't let you in anymore?
It's the worst. It is literally the worst thing that could ever happen to
you
somebody.
are defective. You can no longer operate the vehicle.
Yeah.
Like, goddamn, give me some Neosporin.
Oh my god, how long is it going to take to heal this stupid thing?
You have to keep picking at it, but don't poke it. Don't pick at it. Don't mess up the scab because then you get like another day or whatever. Yeah, it's annoying.
Like, no, I promise. It's just a small scratch from my cat. Please let me in.
Begging and pleading your Kia Sorento to let you in the
Tesla
car
bore they do this.
Oh gosh, yeah. That's another Tesla mention, Rob. You know, we talked about it, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That Tesla just drove them off into getting their heads chopped off, I guess. But
we said that Catherine Keener wanted to be Elon Musk, right? Like, this is
that's where it full circle.
From. Okay, so Zoe Saldana, she is the woman that Ryan Reynolds did not come back to 2018 or try to go to 2018 to save his dad, or to have anything to do with himself, or even to stop Catherine Keener. He's on a mission. He's on a rescue mission. He's here looking for his wife, Laura, who at some point went back to 2018 and was never heard from again.
Yeah. I felt like this is like, I really could have missed this part of the movie.
Yeah. And why did she go to 2018?
I don't know.
She was on the trail of Catherine Keener.
Yeah, I think Catherine Keener was onto her or something, and she was doing a jump, and then Catherine Keener was like, no, and tried to like kill her. They tried to shoot her down, and so she did the wormhole jump and never came back. And she could only go one direction, apparently. And so she had to just kind of wait it out. So she waited for 4 years for Ryan Reynolds to, just with her fingers crossed, hoping he would show up.
She was just like stalking like the 12-year-old version. I mean, the 8-year-old version of him when he started.
Yeah, she was just living in those woods, probably.
Yeah. What? I mean, Chappell, she's down bad for Ryan Reynolds, right?
What, was she stalking the 12-year-old version of him? I thought she she was sitting there trying to like keep her profile low, and then like she was preparing her defense for when they ever showed up to her cabin because she had all the guns and all the stuff. But somehow she did know where young Ryan Reynolds was at. So maybe she was keeping one eye on him.
I mean, it seemed like that she only found adult Ryan Reynolds because she was keeping tabs on young Ryan Reynolds.
I mean, it's not hard to keep tabs on a 12-year-old, you know
but
where
he lives. Like she was going to by his house every day and like seeing what's going on, right? I mean,
all the windows are smashed in.
She didn't have a sensor that was going off of like, trouble at the young Adams house.
At young Adams house, she just happened to be driving by when the fight happened. Maybe. I'm sure she had something to track it, but she probably
4 years in 2018. You don't think she was dating at all?
I mean, this is Zoe Saldana. She probably was dating. Like, look. You could see other people in the meantime. She had to wait a long time. Maybe she had somebody else with a face mullet. She just had to bring in Derek.
You know what they say? The rule is, it's not cheating if it's not your timeline.
That's fair.
Okay. Well, technically, this would have been before they met. So
even better. Yeah. You know what? Y'all might have just changed my mind about time travel. I think I can talk about it now. I didn't know there were so many gray areas.
Yeah.
I did have that, especially when she's like, oh no, there's more important things than us being together. Even though I've missed you for 4 years, definitely missed you for 4 years, but we definitely do have to separate again for reasons. I was like, nah, she found someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it worked out.
She's like, no, I'll totally call you in the next timeline. I promise.
Yeah, I'll find you. I'll
have your number. It'll be great.
Yeah. She did this whole thing to get away from Ryan Reynolds. And he showed up for you. It's like, God damn it. How did you find me? So yeah, that's probably why she was hiding, but who knows?
Yeah. Also the kid, young Adam, is a little pervy.
He's
12. We talk about that? Yeah.
He's 12.
He's 12?
12-year-olds be pervy. That's what they do. Yeah. There are moments where I don't know if he's pervy. I won't say that. I will say that as a 12-year-old, he's very interested in when he's going to blossom into Ryan Reynolds himself, right? So he's looking at himself as a tiny 12-year-old because he's smaller than the rest of his friends. And he's looking at himself and then he's looking at Ryan Reynolds. He's like, I'm going to be Ryan Reynolds one day. That means like, oh yeah, it's going down. And Ryan Reynolds is like, you're being a creep. He's like, yes, but also I'm 12. Give me some time to reconcile with this. Like, I have to figure this one out because this is happening in high school. How late of a bloomer am I? Like, say when, he's doing the hand thing. Like, today, tomorrow, when is it going to happen? So, yeah, I don't blame him. And he wasn't that much of a perv because there's a moment where Zoe Saldana and Ryan Reynolds are like, they're about to get it on. It's been 4 years.
Yep.
And he excused himself. And I will tell you, 12-year-old Chappell would have sat down and watched. I would need to know. I need to know for sure.
It's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's me. It's me, and I need to know for sure. Like, you told me that this is our wife, prove it. And I wouldn't have moved, but he left, so whatever. He's not as pervy as he could have been.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, I defended him, young Ryan, young Adam.
So, the movie ends up then making a big jump, and they go to 2018.
Yeah. At this point, they got to go find Dad because only Dad would know how to fix this. And that's how they end up in 2018. So at no point was the plan ever to save Dad, as we both outlined, like, okay, it was always to save Laura. But then it became, you know what? Saving people and screwing with the past is kind of jacked up. We should just stop time travel from happening altogether so nobody else can mess up the timeline. We'll all go back to our original plan that God laid out for us and everything will be fine. But we got to get Dad's input on this. And honestly, That is annoying because I feel like if I come back from like the future and I tell you something, you should just listen to me at that point. Like, what? Why are you pushing back so hard against this? Like, I understand you're my dad, but I just jumped through a wormhole to get here like twice, and I have the younger version of me as well. And come on, man, just listen.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a missed opportunity as well, where like where Ryan Reynolds is just like his character is too, and I know that they point out some of his flaws in the movie, but he's too perfect of a character where like immediately they get to 2018 and he's like, all right, now we can't mess up the timeline. And so the conflict comes from the dad assuming that they're going to mess up the timeline, but they're not actually, because they're perfect and they're not going to do anything wrong. And it's like this was an opportunity to introduce some source of conflict where it's like they are tempted to mess something up. And that's where it's like, oh, are they going to screw up something? Are they going to, is that going to ruin a relationship, or is it going to, mess with their plan? But instead it's just like, nah, it's just Catherine Keener and her younger self. They're going to mess it up.
Now, is it possible that the facility where that they were doing the time travel experiments was also the facility where they were doing some research into the coronavirus and then destroyed that facility, thus preventing COVID-19?
Oh, so they have a better timeline than what we have right now.
No, nobody was, I mean, no talk of COVID in 2022.
Not a mask in sight. Not a mask in sight. That's wild. No, that's a good point. But I do think that the reason why Ryan Reynolds could go back in time and be like, Dad, it doesn't matter even if we screw up everything, it's because it's already been screwed up. She already messed it up. So everything we're messing up is just her messed up timeline. We're gonna stop time travel altogether, and none of this will matter. Like, I could go and slap Mom right now. She's not gonna remember because it was
his dad in the face.
He deserved it. He was being a jerk. Like, listen, I get it. You're Dad.
Hold on. Sorry.
I came back here to talk to you. What's up, Taran?
Wait, but didn't the time machine exist in the natural timeline?
So the time machine existed in the natural timeline, but the only person who knew about the time machine was Catherine Keener. Like, Mark Ruffalo accidentally made it, so he didn't know it was going to be a time machine one day. Catherine Keener ends up like using the time machine and going back and like being like, okay, I'm about to mess up everything. So they said the one thing that they could mess up is the fact that there is a time machine. Like, we have to stop Catherine. And honestly, Catherine Keener is the one who messed that up because she shot herself. And so, yeah.
But by destroying by preventing time machine from being invented, they are now on an altered timeline.
Yeah, but it's better one where Mark Ruffalo will still die.
Right,
Yeah.
but if they're altering the timeline to prevent time travel from happening in the first place, then it's already an altered timeline. They might as well alter the death.
That's what I said. Yeah.
That's what Rob's saying. Listen, they don't want to do everything.
This isn't the prime timeline anymore anyway.
Look, it's not like Ryan Reynolds wouldn't want to save his dad. His dad's a jerk and doesn't want to live. He's like, no, you can't do anything. You can't change it. You're breaking the rules. He's like, okay, fine, just die. You know, like at some point he just gave up. Like, what do you want me to do? Damn, you want me to drive the car? Like, if you're going to die in a car accident, I'm trying to tell you this. He's like, don't tell me. It's like, we're going to tell you that. They tried to tell him like 5 times. And at the end, he's like, you know, you can't tell me that kind of thing. I need to die. He's like,
yeah.
Okay, thanks. You can go.
I also thought it was wild that they took 12-year-old Adam to 2018, where I guess they needed him to like work the ship, but then like they take him as a hostage, 12-year-old Adam at one point. I'd be like, go ahead, kill him.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter.
None of it matters. We're all about to die when we alter the timeline.
Well, I don't think they
I guess
can
it would.
alter the
I guess
timeline.
would it instantly kill old Adam? I guess it would, but it really shouldn't.
Then
it
she
really
should have just shot the kid. It would have fixed all of her problems.
Yeah,
she was going to.
Bad job.
Why did she bring him in with a gun on his? Just shoot him before you even bring him in. The second you get him, kill him.
She needs the thing, the drive. If she kills the man, he dissolves with the drive. Maybe the drive dissolves too. She needs the drive. The clothes dissolve. Maybe the drive dissolves. I don't know.
So what I was not expecting at the end of the movie was the huge set piece in the particle accelerator.
Yeah.
Wow.
You got me on that one.
Wow. That was a big operation going on there. I was not like when they sort of, and Mark Ruffalo is like teaching like a mid-sized college professor class. I didn't think that he also like had like this like a massive like facility that was going on.
Yeah, and he's like he's surprised that he's the guy that figured out time. She's like, I'm the guy that did time travel? What? I've only been studying it and have theories about how it could work and have a massive particle accelerator in my basement that probably is the thing that does it. How is this? What? That's like a whole surprising.
Like Dr. Evil layer of particle accelerator.
Yeah, it was a big old particle accelerator. Even like the ending, like the final fight, how it ends basically because they cracked the glass and now the electromagnetic field is broken or whatever, and there's the magnet is pulling everything everywhere. I was like, was I supposed to know this was going to happen? Like, had they been hinting that this was coming? Because I was like, oh, the glass is breaking. Well, I wonder what's going to happen now. They're like, oh, it's a magnet. I was like, oh, did we know that?
I didn't know that.
Am I late?
I didn't know the glass prevented magneticism from pulling.
It was hella like pulling. It
very
was like
powerful.
yanking.
Very powerful. Yeah. So I thought it was a little like willy-nilly what was attached to the magnets. Like you see, like first thing that happens, like people's like buttons are flying off, like we see other things are like things are flying across the room. Then like certain like computer parts like are very much like grounded to a point where and then at some point they just fly off.
The exact same thought. We are seeing guys in future armor flying into the core of this thing. And then Mark Ruffalo is like, the keyboard just moved. Let me just pull it back a little bit. Like what?
No, listen. Iron, nickel, cobalt, and some other random minerals are magnetic, but every mineral ain't magnetic. So maybe they were made out of like plastics or other things that you would use to stop Magneto from showing up and taking over the timeline. Maybe that's why the stuff wasn't flying. But I too was annoyed that, okay, like if the buttons came and then like the rails are bending and stuff like that, like, well, why ain't that flying over there too? And like, why is this rail taking so long to snatch off of here? Yeah. They narrowly escaped all of it, but it was very blurry, even to the point where the bullet bends and turns.
That was wild. Yeah.
If the bullet has that much like pull, like that it's gonna stop it. That's a short range shot. In the middle of the shot, it's gonna stop it, bend it, pull it in. How is it not just pulling the gun full of bullets?
You never understood.
That's a good point.
Aaron.
That's a very good point.
Never understood the science.
Now maybe futuristic guns have a magnetic field.
That's what I thought. But then you have the futuristic armor is flinging them into the center of the thing.
Yeah,
good point.
You never understood the science. It's the moral of the story. It's Mark Ruffalo's last line before he tells them to let him die. You know, he's just like she had it all. She got the business side of it, but she didn't know what the scientists know. Maybe that's a bigger commentary on you know, the current world we're in right now.
And I wasn't watching this movie like thinking like, oh, look at all this bad stuff that's happening. But I did have a moment when he said, "You don't understand the science." That I literally in my head was like, man, I don't either. How did that bullet thing work? Why didn't the gun fly in?
Yeah, nope, good points. I mean, he's like, you got a big plastic gun shooting a bullet with a magnetic core inside of it. It's like, okay, is there a reason why you chose magnetic core for this particular bullet? And then why is it this magnetic to where this magnet you can just like snatch it out of midair? I don't know.
Yeah, and I wonder if they like worked backwards from like the bullet was going to be the MacGuffin the whole way through, and like then the magnet was going to pull the bullet into young Catherine Keener, because everything else the bad guys have is like laser. Seems wild that they are, you know, working with like the same kind of ammunition that people are working with. I guess there had been no advances in ammunition.
They have lasers.
Yeah,
you know,
Ryan Reynolds has like a Donatello laser stick from the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, that's an advancement. They have lasers.
I think what should have, again, another missed opportunity here to really make the movie full circle. Young Catherine Keener, when shot, should have farted.
Oh yeah. I guess there was so much.
Yeah,
there was so much going on. Yeah,
that would have solved the whole movie for me.
I thought she was gonna dive in front of the bullet. You know, like I really saw Catherine Keener's baby Catherine Keener, like trying to like logic it out in her head, like, oh my gosh, I'm an evil villain in the future and I don't like this. And she's kind of standing there and then they shoot. I'm thinking at any given second, she's gonna take the bullet and realize that by killing herself, she kills this woman and then that stops a bunch of all this stuff from happening. But no, the bullet just turns in midair and I was not ready.
I thought she was going to kill her older self. I thought Catherine Keener was gonna take the gun. Wouldn't that solve everything? I mean, she seemed like she was getting like bullied around by the older Catherine Keener, who came in and was like, "Hey, listen, do what I say." And she's like, I thought that wouldn't that have been like a nice turn if she's like, you know, killing the older version of herself?
Well, see,
she'd live.
This is one of the reasons why young Catherine Keener is one of my favorite parts of the movie, because not only does she look like a hideous monster, but
she is a hideous monster.
but they have this whole, from the second she's introduced, this whole character arc of her being this reluctant sort of like, okay, I guess I'll go along with it, but this seems wrong. I don't want to do this. And then it culminates in her like, I don't know if I can fire the gun. Oh, you're going to do it? And you think she's going to do something to save the day because that's what her entire character arc has been building to. And then it's like, the bullet just bends. I love that. I love that. Yeah. That's amazing.
Well, I mean, in the context of the story, it does make sense that she doesn't actually try to save the day. Like, I wanted her to because I thought it would make sense. But honestly, they do outline that Catherine Keener goes to her and says, you know, you're going to be okay with this because you're still me. Like, there's nothing different about you back then that like I don't become evil overnight. Like you already were evil. You just don't know it yet. And so I'm here to tell you, like, we can accelerate this thing, you know, not particle accelerate. We can accelerate this thing. We can speed it up. And so she's kind of like still trying to figure out, like, am I evil? And so when she has the gun, there's a moment where she's like, I should do the good thing. And then she's like, but Catherine Keener did tell me I'm evil. And I am Catherine Keener. So I'm evil. I am a monster.
She like plays up to her like all those nights that you were lonely and you couldn't go on any dates or have any friends. Like, don't you deserve to be compensated for that?
It's like, I could use billions. I could be the queen supreme ruler of the world. It was like, okay, I'll take it.
Yeah. So if your future self showed up today after this podcast and said, look, we're evil. Rule the world in the future. I'm just gonna need you to do some things to make sure that we like lock it in. Are you on board?
I'm like, how evil?
You know, like, what do we need to do?
Just some investments. That's it.
I'm just a normal evil, like I'm just a billionaire, because that's just evil inherently. But like,
all right, Chappell,
the world may get terminated.
Okay,
but you'll
future Chappell comes back and says, hey, the Survivor NFTs, Chappell. Go all in.
It's gonna be big, huh? Okay. All right. Well, who I gotta buy? That's the real question. Because I can't buy everybody. Like, if you tell me, like, oh, the Ben Driebergen NFT is like, I'm sorry, I can't. Some things aren't worth it.
Chappell, it has to be Ben Driebergen.
I'm sorry.
To be Ben.
Where's the bullet?
No, you have to do. If you don't do this, you'll be killing me and our future.
I just think that some things are worth it. Like at this point, like I'm like, okay, in the future, does Sari win Survivor?
No.
If you buy
No?
Ben Driebergen, Ben B.
But her NFT is gonna be huge.
Does she win Survivor? Yes or no, Rob?
You
That's
can
gonna
make
make
it
a break.
happen.
If I can make it happen, give me the Ben Driebergen NFT. Let's do it. Yeah, that's my heel turn.
Yeah,
I need it. Yeah.
Okay.
This is so horrible.
We know Chappelle's price now.
And I'm cheap.
Yeah.
The price of a Ben Driebergen NFT. Yeah. I don't know if that's cheap actually. Do I have to know what an NFT is for this for this plan to work?
No.
Oh, okay, then fine.
Can we Jim from The Office this and just start faxing you messages from future Chappelle?
Of course. Yeah. Like, I need proof that Sari is gonna win Survivor. Like, I really need that, or it's not gonna. I can't do this. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Get a copy of Survivor Reddit page that day.
Yeah. No, because
Screenshot.
you can't trust that because I could check Survivor Reddit right now and somebody's on to talk about Sari, the real winner of Game Changers, and I was like, yep, they're not wrong.
Well, the reality is that it would be a Reddit page of like Sari overrated. She won the season, didn't even play well. That's when you know, okay, this is real. Yeah.
Right. They handed it to her. The cast was too weak. It was,
cast was
too many
weak.
twists. Yeah.
Rigged.
Rigged. I'd be like, rig it. Fine. Rig down. I want more.
It took her 10 tries. Oh my God.
Yeah. She finally won, but it wasn't her best winning game. like she's played better games when she lost. Oh gosh. Yeah. Now that you mention it, Taran, I think you might have talked me out of it. I don't know if I need this.
All right, Chappelle, future Chappelle, if you're listening.
Yeah, we're not doing it.
Regular Chappelle is out.
Hang it up. We'll settle for the Stephen Fishback NFT.
So after they end up like blowing up the whole particle accelerator, then I'm sort of like I don't want to be hypocritical here because I feel like that this was the most emotionally intense part of the movie for me. My wife was crying, full disclosure. When they go back to the house and Mark Ruffalo won't talk about what is going to happen to him in the future. But he says, you know what we can do? He gets out the baseball gloves. And he says, all right, well, we're having a catch. And it's a little bit of a question like, well, shouldn't you guys be gone now? And they'd have like a throwaway line like, I feel a little bit different. I guess it'll resolve itself. It'll resolve itself. But they do have a catch with Mark Ruffalo, young Adam, and old Adam. And I feel like for all the stupidity that goes on with the science, that I felt like that I don't know, this hit for me.
Yeah, I really do feel like the emotional core of the movie, and one of the reasons why it's made, like, if I'm trying to like milk frustration out of it, it's that I do think it could have been a lot better. Because that opening bit of the movie talking about like losing a father, what that did to the kid, having the Ryan Reynolds come back, that was all good. And then we also have this great conversation between young Adam and Ryan Reynolds, where he's talking about like you're mad at him because he died, and like really exposing the emotional drive, and you get that like one of the writers of this film understood like the emotional core of this movie. They just decide like whoever else decided to ignore all of that. But it does, I think, land a bit here at the end because there's like enough work, and it's the same thing with like the wife who shows up for like 15 minutes. Like there's a scene where like she's sacrificing herself, they leave, and he's like, not again, and like they're acting their pants off in what amounts to 15 minutes of screen time. But it's like they clearly they had something. There's something they wanted to do here. They just didn't invest enough time to like make it work. And I do think that like this is what makes the movie were, and it felt like there was more there that could have been explored. But I did like the catch, and I liked the hug of like I'm proud of you, you're great, like I'm your father, and just like kept going, like I like that bit too.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I think the emotional aspect was very nuanced because, in a way, you have it could have been very surface level where like Mark Ruffalo's character is a workaholic. I mean, we never see him before, and Ryan Reynolds comes back and he's salty, like Dad never cared about us. But young Adam is like, no, you just think Dad never cared about us because you have convinced yourself that he didn't, so that you would hate him, so you wouldn't miss him as much. And I'm like, oh, that's actually decent, like,
great,
because young Adam is closer to the memory, right? He's like, he just lost his dad a year ago, so he knows that he's like currently trying to convince himself that he hates his dad. Ryan Reynolds is 30 years older, so he has no clue that that's, the way it happened. He just thinks that his memory is like honest to itself, and it's not. He's forced himself to believe it in a different way. And so yeah, I like that a lot. Even with Jennifer Garner's character as the mom, young Adam is an asshole. Like, he's an asshole for everybody. He's always been an asshole. He'll always be one, as we know. He grows up to be Ryan Reynolds. Okay, so because of that, Ryan Reynolds is telling him, like, stop being a jerk to your mom, because you're gonna miss her too one day, and you're gonna think back on all these times where you were a little jerk, and you're gonna think, oh God, I could have done this differently. And it's not just like, oh yeah, like we find out later she dies and then he does really miss her. Like, we don't even talk about that. It's just in the moment that 12-year-old can understand, like, no, I'm probably giving my mom a hard time. And then you have Ryan Reynolds, adult Ryan Reynolds, going to Jennifer Garner in the bar and being like, hey, just let your kid know that you're grieving too, and that you trying to hold it all together is leading him to believe that he can be an asshole to you. Like, he thinks you can take it. And I think all of that was so like emotionally nuanced, almost separate of the film, and like, even what Taran was saying with Laura and Ryan Reynolds' character, the way they missed each other. It's been 4 years, and like they have seconds, and they're about to be ripped apart from each other, and they know they have like just moments left. They were acting their asses off, like they were in it, and so I appreciated all of that. The full circle moment with them playing baseball at the end was cute or whatever, But it was a good one just for that.
I think you could take Catherine Keener out of the movie entirely, remove like most of the action subplots, and the writers were capable of writing like a solid like action drama comedy where there's still some action, but it's mostly just figuring out the relationship dynamics of this family while Ryan Reynolds is like beating up on children, bullies.
Yeah, just to go back to like the Back to the Future of it all, like Back to the Future like has like a lot of these elements that we're talking about here. And actually, I mean, this movie is probably like the stuff that we're talking about like with has I think it's probably even more like powerful emotionally than like anything that's going on in Back to the Future. But I think where they tried to turn this into like a Deadpool movie, where it's a Ryan Reynolds action movie and sci-fi and lasers and shooting. I mean, I think that's the stuff I think that really holds this movie back. But I think that at its heart, the relationship between young Adam and old Adam and the dad and the mom, like I think that there is like some really good emotional stuff there. Stuff that really did hit home with me specifically.
Yeah,
fully agree.
Yeah, and I mean, you have some really good actors here, and so even though the storyline is absurd and the science doesn't always check out, and there's some of the logic that's going on in the film doesn't really matter. Like, if you want these people to evoke an emotion, they can. Like, there's Jennifer Garner's not going to have an issue with that. Ryan Reynolds is a great actor, despite him always being Ryan Reynolds, and then Mark Ruffalo as well. Zoe Saldana, like, these aren't any slouches. I feel like if you had a less polished cast, then maybe those moments don't hit as hard. Or they're a little over the top, but I believe the emotional aspect of it.
This movie is called The Adam Project. Was this a good name?
I feel like in a normal like run-of-the-mill movie, Adam would have been an acronym for whatever the machine was called, right? And it was also his son's name, but it was just like, no, he just calls it that. There wasn't any reason why the Adam Project was named the Adam Project. Like, obviously it's named after his son, but like normally it would be like, oh, the atomic dimensional advancement machine or something like that, also known as Adam, or something, whatever. Yeah, Rob, I made that up.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, you know what's interesting too is that like I'm looking at the poster for the movie and it looks entirely unappealing to me because it's like as generic as possible. This
Yeah,
poster.
bad poster, a bunch of
Um,
actors. Yeah.
But
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know if it's like the Netflix algorithm because I know they do this. But the thumbnail for it on
Yeah.
Netflix was, for me at least, it was Ryan Reynolds and the kid looking a
Oh.
little bit beat up, but looking like emotion. And it looked to me like it was gonna be
Yeah.
a more grounded emotional movie
Chappelle,
based on that thumbnail.
Do you know that Netflix changes the thumbnails? It shows you based on what Netflix thinks of you.
Oh yeah, Netflix it thinks I'm like a mega creep. Like all the things.
Why? What
I'm
did
like,
it show you? What's your thumbnail?
I go to watch BoJack Horseman and it's Princess Carolyn in a bikini. Like this has nothing to do with the show at all. She's a cat. You know, like I don't understand why you think I would want to see that, but okay.
Yeah. Okay.
You want to see cats in bikinis?
Yeah, my thumbnail is
apparently.
I don't know if this is the one that you have, Taran, where Ryan Reynolds basically has like the lightsaber out.
No.
I got Ryan Reynolds with like a lightsaber out, and the kid is behind him. So I don't know if that's because
I had him like bending over with his hand on the kid, like they were having an emotional moment together. It like clearly Netflix knew that that's the portion of the like that's what I'd be looking for in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Chappelle, we should do this every single week. Talk about what thumbnail are you being served for this?
Yeah, Chappelle, what did you get for the Adam Project?
I had the same one as Rob, but I think it's because me and Rob have now watched the same show.
Yeah, but my kids also watch a lot of things on my Netflix. So
they don't have their own profile?
They do, but sometimes they're watching it on mine because they don't get all that. They have kids accounts.
Okay, I'm gonna check my burner computer. Let me see 1 second. Nope, same one. I guess I'm watching the same things on both.
So, also just like an interesting note on the development of this film, that it was originally a script that was called "Our Name Is Adam," and Tom Cruise was attached to star in a version of this at some point.
Yuck.
Yeah, Our Name Is Adam is a terrible title. It's like get it because it's time travel. Tom Cruise, I imagine this would have been a more serious movie. And so maybe theoretically that could have led toward a more grounded movie. But my guess is that it just would have been even more generic, and it would have been without the Ryan Reynolds like pop to make it that much more watchable, and it would have been a terrible movie.
Yeah, like we've understated how good Ryan Reynolds is at being Ryan Reynolds. Like he does it so naturally, and the little kid is basically Ryan Reynolds Jr. and he too is an asshole, and so they're playing off of each other. You know, and it's really entertaining. And I don't think you can fill that space with Tom Cruise. Like he would just be staring at stuff and like smoldering a lot,
running.
You know?
Right.
Running a lot of running.
Yeah,
and there is some humor with the young Ryan Reynolds with the grown-up Ryan Reynolds. The kid does a really good job of being young Ryan Reynolds.
Yes,
like,
and he's
the role he was
like
born to play.
Very adorable throughout. Like he does a great job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else on the Adam Project?
Nah, it was fun. It was like an easy watch. Like it wasn't anything that you feel like you like. For one, if you don't pay close attention to it, then you won't understand anything that's going on anyway. Like the science doesn't make any sense. But you'll at least be wowed by some of like the flashy fight scenes. Like they're very shiny. A lot of lightsaber and dissolving people and stuff like that. And then every now and then you'll catch a funny one-liner from Little Adam or Big Adam. So yeah, easy watch. If you told me you and your kids wanted to sit down and watch it, I'd probably say like it's a pinch vulgar, just a pinch. Aside from that, no, I thought it was okay.
Go ahead.
It's not a movie I would recommend to like sit down with popcorn and like, or that for me at least. When I break out the popcorn for a movie, that means I'm paying attention to the movie.
Yeah. What's a movie you watch with popcorn?
Like Dune this year is a sci-fi movie that I would be like, yes, I am giving my all into this movie. I'll watch this with popcorn. This is a movie that I would throw on as I'm like doing work or browsing playing Wordle. It's not something I would be like, all right, I'm gonna sit down for 2 hours and watch a movie. It's like I'll throw this on.
So how long does it take you to play Wordle?
Not very long, unfortunately.
Yeah. You could watch like a TikTok while you play Wordle.
It's just one of the various things that I will do when I sit down and I'm doing other things.
I didn't know you were a big Wordle guy.
That's the thing. How big of a Wordle guy can you be when it's like 2 minutes of your day?
People can get way into
Aaron,
it.
Please. Yeah. I'm like in a support group about to be sending Dr. Amanda Rabinovitz like messages and like helping her out because she recently had a slip up.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh,
Chappell told me the only reason he would go back to 2018 would be to prevent Wordle.
Prevent it?
Well, not Wordle, but like Octordle. That one, like, do we really need that one? Do we need Hurdle? Do we really
What's
need Hurdle?
Octordle? I've needed more of these because they don't take enough time.
Yeah, Taran, there's a bunch of them. Hurdle is one for music.
I've been doing Nerdle too. Wordle and Nerdle have been my two.
What's Nerdle?
Yeah.
That's the math one.
Oh.
Yeah, so they have the math one. They have regular Wordle, Wordle proper. Then they have Hurdle, which is 1 second of like a music, like a song. Mm-hmm. So it'd be like the drum.
I can't do that while I'm watching a movie.
No, you can't do that while you're watching a movie. Mm-hmm. And then they have like Octordle or Quadwordle or something like that, where it's like you have to do all the Wordles at the same time.
Yeah.
No, that would be War Turtle. But you do them all at the same time, you know. So you like your guess goes for each of the quadrants, and then you try to get them all. So you should do that one, Taran.
Yeah.
Send me your scores. I like looking at the colors. Yeah. I don't actually play Wordle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the Adam Project. Just a couple of quick things. One thing I liked, my favorite joke in the movie was when he's talking about how the bullet went through, and the kid is like, "Oh my God, you were shot," and Ryan Reynolds to the kid is like, "No, I got stabbed with a bullet. Stabbed." Yeah. He talks to the kid with such disdain, which I liked. And although I have to say, they have a dog. The dog is barking a lot, and it made my dog very upset. So I didn't like that. Ruined some of my enjoyment of the movie when my dog was getting all worked up because the dog in the movie was barking.
Well, this leads me to another question. If you were the one that went back in time, and you were hanging out with your 12-year-old self, would you be treating your 12-year-old self with the same amount of disdain?
I'm sure I would hate my 12-year-old self.
Really?
Yeah. I think so.
Right.
And Chappell, and this is like as a dad, you get. I mean, Mark Ruffalo doesn't really get to experience this, but when especially when you have a child who that some say is a lot like you get to have this without time travel, where you get to be annoyed by a younger version of yourself and be like, oh my God, I must have been unbearable.
That's what you should tell yourself. You're like, listen, one day there's going to be a Dominic and there's going to be an Anthony, and you're going to pay for your sins. And you're like, okay, it'll scare you straight. You'll be like, okay, I don't have to. I won't do this anymore. I don't want to host game shows anymore.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know, Rob. I feel like 12-year-old Rob is a good time.
I think it would have been very annoying. I think it was no filter.
What is 12-year-old Rob saying to you?
Like, oh my God, can I touch this? Can I try it? Can I try it? Like, stop, just hang out.
He grabs the mic, coming to you live. Like, shut up.
Like, no, stop.
Ringing the bell, like,
relax.
It's like, really? All we got is a magic 8-ball and a bell. Okay, Dad.
Are you just Chappell? Are you just chilling with your 12-year-old self? Like, you're just.
Yeah. Me and my 12-year-old self are the same person. Like I'd show up and 12-year-old self, like, what are you doing? Like watching TV, like bet. Like what are you doing? Hey, this thing called Big Brother coming out. You want to get into it? I'd be like, yep. I'm like, listen, one day it's gonna be crazy. There's gonna be celebrity Big Brother. There's this guy named Taja Call. It's gonna be wild.
Wait till you hear about Twitter. Yeah.
Right. Put all your chips on Misha. Go all in.
Is that how you knew Taran?
Look, I don't reveal my secrets.
Is that how you've won all these drafts? Because you are being visited by future Taran, and that's how you get all these things right on the live feed updates and everything?
Look, sometimes you just got to have that edge, you know?
You got to.
That would make a lot of sense, Chappell.
It would.
I think my 12-year-old self, I think there was a point in my life where I thought about what I would do if I ran into another version of myself. And because you'd think, is that version of myself going to try to kill me so that it can be the only one, right? Like, is it trying to supplant me in the timeline? Lots of time travel movies do this. They end up attacking each other and killing each other. And at one point in my life, I decided, no, definitively, that makes no sense.
You would never do
this
that.
is a bad move. It's always going to end in like a terrible failure. But at 12 years old, I'm not sure I decided that yet. So my 12-year-old self might try to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so it would be like you from like a different dimension, from like Taran from the multiverse.
Yeah, like a different dimension or a different timeline. Like trying to like. Did you? There was a movie. Oh, I don't remember what it was called. There's a movie where this happens, where like all of the different versions of like every character are just trying to kill each other because they're trying to all be in the good timeline. And there's books on this too, where it's like there's like 50 versions of the character, and they're like only one can have the family and survive in this timeline.
Yes.
And it's just like that always, because there's always more, and so it's a losing battle. There's an infinite amount of you. But 12-year-old self might not have known that.
Yeah, that was like that Paul Rudd show where he got cloned.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Yeah,
I did see that one. Yeah.
Okay.
I would go back and tell 12-year-old Chappell there's going to be this thing called the live feeds. Get into it, and then pitch Rob Cesternino the day before Taran Armstrong does. You have his. We know how he auditioned. Replicate it, and then take off. Go into the sunset.
Yeah, you would have been a coworker with Taran.
The Chappell Robot Army. No, I would have gotten his idea. I would have beat him to it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else on the Adam Project before we talk about what's coming up next?
Nah, it was cool.
Okay. All right. That's the Adam Project. All right, Chappell. I believe we already have the pick is in for what's coming up next.
Yes. So we have been in negotiations with a podcast duo because Rob, I think we're about to roll out, I guess you should say, a new branch of Rob Has a Podcast, or a new RHAP Up. Is this what this is going to be?
You know, let's not.
You're like, no, not too soon.
Yeah, let's. We'll more details to come.
Okay. Well, that being said, yeah, we've been in negotiation with Mari Forth and Sarah Carradine, who are, our former guests where we talked about Murderville. They are our true crime correspondents here on Nothing But Netflix, and they have something on their mind. They want to talk about another Netflix true crime show, and so we're going to do a crossover event with those ladies again.
Yeah. Okay. And we're talking about Bad Vegan.
Bad Vegan.
Yes. Fame, fraud, fugitives, the big Fs.
Bad Vegan. So, Rob, have you ever heard about? Yeah, like, is this vegan in particular is bad? Like, I'm assuming they're a criminal.
I'll give you. So it's coming Wednesday. After marrying a mysterious man who claimed he could make her dog immortal. Okay. All right. Very mysterious. A celebrated vegan restaurateur finds her life veering off the rails.
Yeah, this is much more down my alley. It's fantasy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, Taran, what if somebody came to you and said that they could give you an immortal cat?
Make my cat immortal. I would have to hear them out.
Mm-hmm. Think about it.
I'm in shock. I'm sorry. So the man says, you have an animal, and I am magic. But my power is that I can keep your dog from dying. You, however, will die. But your dog.
Oh, yeah. Who will take care of the dog once you die?
Wait, so that was the blood sacrifice was the owner of the dog?
No, we don't know. We don't know. We got to watch the show. Bad Vegan. Limited series coming Wednesday. So we'll talk about it with our resident true crime experts. Mari Forth and Sarah Carradine. All right.
Is it bad that when I heard the title Bad Vegan, my first thought was cannibalism?
I guess so. That would be one of the worst vegans
pretty
around.
Bad vegan. Yeah.
I'm the worst vegan.
I mean, we're not ruling out cannibalism yet. I mean, like, we haven't seen it.
We don't know where it's going to. I mean, Tinder Swindler took a lot of turns.
That don't F with cats. I thought it was about cats. It is not, and so
I thought that show was about Rachel Swindler. I was shocked.
Is she on
her dating
Tinder?
life?
Not anymore. I think she's in a relationship.
Okay, look at her.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Taran, what's coming up for you?
Big Brother coverage, the Taran show. I've got one out with Kevin Martin right now. Tyson will be joining me on the next one.
Oh,
yes.
Yes, good timing.
Right?
Hard
so
to get him these days.
it has been recorded already, so no questions about recent developments. But you can
Scrap
check
it.
that out. I have a YouTube channel called Terrence Quest. I've been a bit busy with Big Brother, but if you are interested in hearing more takes on sci-fi, fantasy, books, shows, movies, you can hear some of them there. And find me on Twitter at Armstrong Taran.
Okay. Taran, so great to have you talk about a movie here with us. Sorry that it was an aggressively mediocre film. I hope the next one we talk about will be at least aggressively above average.
I want it to either be I love it or I hate it, Rob. That's my criteria.
Fair enough. And then
Rob,
Chappell, yes.
Wouldn't it be funny if we let Dr. Christian Hubicki watch this film, and then he can school us on some of the science that we missed? He can just send in a long form message. He's good at that. He will just send in a long message.
He might get very angry. Yeah.
Or maybe we can bring him up in a follow-up one day. A special nothing but
Netflix
Netflix
to chat with him. Yeah.
I think so, because like now that Taran has pointed out all the holes in this this fantastical world, I was like, I wonder if the good doctor knows anything.
He checks out the podcast every now and then. He had told me how he had listened to us talk about Don't Look Up recently.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
the first of the Tyler Perry movies we covered.
Has Christian Hubicki watched Primer?
I'm not sure.
I'd love to get his take on Primer.
Listen, I'll reach out today. We're going to ask about Primer specifically, and then hopefully maybe Rob, you could ask Christian to give us his thoughts on this one.
Okay, I'll see if he if he's listening, we'll find out. Yeah,
cool.
Okay. Chappell, what's going on for you?
I got a lot going on. Of course, you and I just did the feedback show for the first week of Survivor, and it was a great 42. Episode.
Yeah.
We had a good time. And so that was fun. I'm happy that it's out. It was the biggest, fattest, juiciest feedback show of all time.
Yes. And this was a big, fat, juicy recap of this film as well.
We like to keep it like that. That's kind of our standard here, the gold standard, big, fat, and juicy.
Always. Yeah.
Yes. And so that was a good time. Of course, on post-show recaps, I'm still talking about The Walking Dead. I'm still talking about Bel Air with Puya, and now I'm talking about Atlanta with Mari Forth and LaTanya Starks. So I got a lot going on over there too. And then last week I did some things on Silent Podcast for Abbott Elementary. Did some stuff with the Shit 90 Shows Taught Me podcast for Boy Meets World. And I think in the week or so coming up, I will be appearing on NGOG, the New Girl Old Guy podcast, to talk to Allie Lasher and Akiva Winokur about the New Girl and the episode with Prince, because it's my favorite episode. And so got a lot going on this week. Check me out on Twitter. Yeah, I know where to find me, but follow at Nothing But RHAP and keep up with all the things we're doing here on Nothing But Netflix.
Okay, and you can do that by subscribing. Go to robbinswoods.com/Netflix feed for our subscription to this wonderful podcast. And don't be stingy with your feedback ratings. Give us your stars. We'll go back in time and give us some more stars. Okay. How about that?
We'll take them. Yeah. It's unlimited. I want them all.
Yeah. Speaking of Uncle Kiwi, we got together for the 3-name celebrity bracket on Rob and Kiwi Need a Podcast this weekend, which was a lot of fun. Be sure to check that out. Alexander Chester says it's in the conversation for one of the best renaps ever.
I heard it was spicy, Rob. I heard there was some debate about
controversy.
Yeah, I heard it got real, and that's what we like from our renap content. So I can't wait to check it out.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.